So we're going to just talk about acclimating and like the new stuff.
Cool. Yeah.
John, look, you have to pick a cupcake. So you can it's like being at a birthday party. Like I just don't have rainbows and unicorns like we did when we were kids or any kind of like
I'll go for the chocolate one.
paper mache. There you go.
So we're picking back up after hearing some music from Gallo Locknez.
Yeah.
And
look at you.
We celebrated Tracy's birthday.
Yep.
And now we have Colin from the Incline back here. And I like the fact that we kind of have a theme going on with Colin in that there's always something, there's always sweets.
Yeah.
We were at Grandpa Joe's.
That's right.
And now we have cupcakes for you.
Yes. I mean, we heard that was in your rider. We weren't sure if that was true or not, but we thought just in case we better produce.
I think I'm going to have to add a nice like whiskey smell to my rider because I think
go.
this is really like enhancing the experience for me this morning.
Amazing? I have to say, I'm sorry, John, go ahead.
No, isn't that right? I mean, we're sitting in this barrel house, and Colin and I were out there checking the Wi-Fi. We're like, how do we get one of those barrels into my apartment? Because I want my apartment to smell like this.
Yeah, can I get like a bar of soap that smells like this?
Listen, he said bar of soap. Do you know what that means? One of our questions
my
of the
God.
day this week, at 1:12 every day, we put a question of the day, random silliness, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was because his son bought a bar of soap, and he was like, who buys bars of soap? I said, I do. I buy Dove all the time. And he was like, oh, that's the question of the day. So people were saying like, oh, I mean, you don't have to use liquid soap. So I love the fact that you said bar.
I actually use bars of soap as well. I buy my soap locally, so
But do you live alone?
No, I
No,
don't.
that's right. Oh, yeah, right. No.
Uh-huh.
See, the thing is that we're off on a tangent, but bar of soap makes me feel yucky, like, because if people don't clean it off when they're
watch
done,
how you say it, because
Well, I will say my partner and I do not share soap, so it's
Okay.
exclusively mine.
There you
Okay,
go.
All right.
There
all right,
you
that's
go,
cool.
there
All
you
right,
go.
now let's talk real business.
Okay, yeah, let's get into it.
What's happening over at the Incline?
yeah, welcome back. This
So-
was our thing. We want you on quarterly because we want to know all the ins and outs of the Incline. Go ahead.
The Incline has been, we've been really, really busy lately just because there's been so much awesome stuff going on in the Berg.
Yep.
So this past week I went to a talk about search engine optimization, which was very exciting, I assure you. But we also went to Mindful Brewing's debut of their new Schneider's Iced Tea
What
beer.
did you think of it?
I thought it was really good and very
Surprisingly good.
refreshing. Surprisingly good. And from what the brewer told me, they wanted it to be a little bit more sour than it ended up being, but that actually has kind of worked well with the public because I think the public is a little bit, I don't know, it just tastes like Schneider's Iced Tea with a little bit of lemon in it.
It's so true, right? That's what we said because we cracked it very gingerly and we were on video. So we were like, if this is not what we think it's going to be, we're going to be like, oh, our eyes are going to kind of wince. And it was really good. You're right. I thought it was fantastic. Okay, what else? What else has been going on?
So, I mean, we're still doing, our daily news roundups. We have been covering just lots of different stuff around the Pittsburgh area. There have been a lot of stories recently about housing, which has been interesting.
Yes.
And I think a lot of it has to do with folks just being very keenly aware of the prices going up. But, the PG has also been covering things like substandard housing. There are new condos being built in historic structures throughout the city. So there's really a lot going on when it comes to things like food, clothing, and shelter. We found ourselves kind of covering basic needs in Pittsburgh a lot. And then the other thing is, too, I don't want to tip my hand too much here, but I'm currently at work on a longer form investigative piece that's going to look more closely at the education system here in Pittsburgh. Because there's been a lot of controversy recently in our schools around issues of teaching race and diversity and things like that. So I'm currently at work on a story in partnership with the Pittsburgh Institute for Nonprofit Journalism, and am hoping to get that published before July. So stay tuned for more on that.
That's really different for the Incline. And for Colin, for somebody who has not been aware, or maybe they're listening to the podcast for the first time, tell us a little bit about what the Incline is, but then please extend and say, why is this so different than what you're going to do now?
So the Incline, in a nutshell, we really just want to make people feel like they're plugged into Pittsburgh. Our hashtag is live like you live here. And so in order to do that, I think we really try to present a mix of things good, bad, and ugly, really highlight the fun stuff that's going on in the Berg. We've got a constant stream of events on our daily news events roundup. I love covering stuff like food, restaurants, openings and closings and things like that because our food scene is so dynamic. But to live like you live here, you also have to be aware of some of the issues. And so, as we struggle with things in the Burgh, like, there's been an issue with violence recently. I know that's been in a lot of headlines. Schools are really grappling with these tough questions around race. I think that's an important part of living like you live here. Mm-hmm. So we try to give a little bit of coverage on that front as well. And since I have a nonprofit education background as well, it's an area of personal interest for me. Just because I think school systems are often they're a part of everybody's lives, but a lot of people don't know how they work or kind of how decisions get made. So lifting the hood on that stuff, I think, is a really important part of feeling like you're engaged with your community.
Such a good point.
Yeah.
I mean, I could help a brother out if you'd like to know, because North Hills in particular, where I'm a school board member, they admitted that we needed a stronger relationship with the HBCU opportunities.
Yeah.
And since then, we've actually started a board for diversity and inclusion to understand, because we were just talking about that prior. The education is the biggest piece. You don't know what you don't know. And there's no harm in saying, I don't know enough about that. Help me figure out how to get better, right? I think that's a great point for you.
Yeah, and I mean, with public schools too, as a board member yourself, you would know this, but like being an elected official, like there is a level of public accountability and visibility that I think is really important to just making sure everybody feels included in the process. Yeah. I think that's where things start to break down, is when people don't feel like they're included in the process.
Great
so
point.
This school piece, is it city or is it Western Pennsylvania, Allegheny County? What's the focus?
It is Allegheny County.
I love it.
And yeah, you'll see when it all comes out. I don't want to reveal exactly where it's set yet, but we're looking at a specific school district that's having some ongoing discussions. We'll put it that way.
Okay.
Asking for a friend. No.
Yeah.
Come on, Colin.
Crazy Paige, pull up the school districts in alphabetical order right away. We'll just watch his eyes twinkle.
Just go one by one down the list.
That was good. That was good. No, that's awesome. And kudos to you, Colin, because when we first had you on, as we were joking earlier at Grandpa Joe's, you had literally just started. It was your first week.
Yeah.
And you were talking about how every person who has been in your position has sort of looked at it differently. And I will tell you that I make no bones about it. Yours is the first publication that I look at in the morning to kind of get an idea of what's happening, so that I can, at first it was when we were on the other radio station to kind of say, this is what's happening thanks to the Incline. Now I'm looking at it to say, oh, I didn't realize that's what was going on. So kudos to you for really weaving in the news part with the feel-good stuff, because you're right. There has to be that element of knowledge.
And I think too, the way we try and present stuff is, we want to be equitable with like what your attention spans are.
Sure.
So like some people really want that deep dive, and that's why we always include lots and lots of links if you want to like go deeper, get some data, hear from different perspectives around the city. But also, if you want to wake up and just feel like you know what's going on in Pittsburgh that day, it's designed to be a short enough read that you also don't feel overwhelmed, or like every morning you're doom scrolling and reading about all sorts of chaos and violence and things like that.
He just called me lazy.
No, and Colin, I'm a summarizer.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that it's everything's all kind of aggregated there. And what you said is exactly how I use it, is that if I care enough about it, I'll click the link and go read it. But now, is your charge, now that you're in charge at the Incline, do people send you links? Do you go out and get the story because you're here, you're telling us you go to different events? Are you more active out in the community versus sitting at home and gathering links? Is that different, or are you more active than the previous?
That's a really great question. I would say it kind of...
Wait, can I just say he said great question, not just good question.
Colin, we made the initial connection. John doesn't even read the Incline.
He does.
I'm just kidding.
I won't tell you how I read it.
It's an ongoing competition that if someone says good question, and he won it because of you, but go ahead.
I'm going to start sending you guys daily news quizzes to make sure you're keeping up, because now I don't know what to believe anymore.
No, that's an instant. That's like AGT, go instantly to Hollywood, because he said great question.
Yeah, he did say great.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, I would say it's about 1/3 of each. So I spend about 1/3 of my time just kind of reading Pittsburgh news and keeping up on what's going on. And then, of course, there are some decisions that have to be made about, like, what am I going to cover today? What do I feel is the most important? What seems like of the most value to Pittsburghers? Another third is being out in the community, being at places like this. I always love the opportunities to go out, try new food, meet new people, make new connections. And then the last third is really just like working with our business partners in the community, working with PR people who make me aware of locals to know that we should be covering. And, occasionally people who just nominate themselves, or who say like, oh, my neighbor is doing some really awesome work. And this coming week, we've got an artist who's going to be our locals to know, that somebody was just like, yeah, my friend is a really cool guy. He does glass blowing. You should totally interview him. And I was like, yes, we should. So it kind of a mix of all those different things. And, you know, we value our sponsored content, but there's a lot of cool stuff going on in the community that is worth spotlighting just itself.
Because. No, we agree. And I was going to say that changed a little bit too, because even when we were on with you, for people to know or follow, you know, we then suggested people who we thought, you know, and we said people who were easily recognizable. And I started seeing the trend that you're picking the everyday Sally. And I love that, because that's what we say. When people say, who was your favorite person to interview? We love that we interviewed Cyril Wecht, but I would rather know about the college student who invented green gum, and not the color, you know, the actual green gum. That is so interesting, because who would have thought? And like you said, they're literally like a neighborhood over, and you wouldn't have even known.
And I think that's the really cool thing too, is like when you're out in the Strip on a weekend or something like that, you might be like, oh, hey, that's that guy who, you know, photographed Mac Miller for one of his last albums, or like, oh, that's the woman who helped ban declawing in Pittsburgh. So some of those articles actually end up being our most popular, because I think people really, you know, Pittsburgh, we often just kind of get lost in our own neighborhoods, or get, you know, caught up in the day-to-day. And when you find out that like just a valley over or a hillside over, there's somebody who's doing really cool work like that, I think it's an additional reason to just go out and explore the city.
So true.
Colin, we love that we have this sort of collaboration with you. And again, we're going to remind everybody that we're on Q92.9 every Monday through Friday, 7 to 10 p.m. You will be joining us maybe once a month to just kind of, you know, stuff to do. And I have a question technology-wise, though. We get your Incline delivered to our email. Have you ever decided to change it to texting and see what the readership would do? I'm just kind of curious in that.
That's an interesting question. I mean, one of the things that I think I'm still trying to sort of wrap my head around is the best ways that we can publish longer form content and web content. And that's part of this school board story, and working with PINJ, the Institute for Nonprofit Journalism, I think is going to help us tell a longer and richer story that we can't really do in a newsletter. But one of the other things that I think is a really important part of what we do is our social media. You know, later today I'm going to be at Bears of the Berg. I'm really looking forward to that. And I'm going to be, you know, doing some filming, you know, maybe sharing some tasting notes with Pittsburgh through that format. So, you know, at Mindful this past week, we published a video that kind of showed what was going on. And I think social media gives some dimensionality to what is otherwise, you know, a daily piece of text and photo.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah,
got it.
Helps solidify what we're doing. So he said we're on the right track.
Attaboy.
Colin, it's always a pleasure. Before we let you go, we want to know where everybody can find you, follow you, where they can get the Incline, and then we have the question of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. So theincline.com is our website. You can sign up for our daily newsletter there. We send it out every Tuesday through Friday at 6 a.m. You can follow us on social media at The Incline PGH. And yeah, I think that's all the news.
You got it all. Yeah. I'm glad you mentioned, because it is crazy that for real 2 Mondays ago, not Memorial Day, so maybe this Monday, I was like, oh my God, wonder what's wrong. I didn't get the Incline, and then I remembered it was Tuesday. So
some people do get thrown by the fact that we're not on Monday, but I appreciate the fact that it makes my schedule a little more humane.
Sure, absolutely. And you're right. I think the good news that we can take away is that there's so much going on. You know, it's not this desolate, like, I need to pull some content. So, no, that's great. All right, question of the day. What is your Garnish go-to? I feel like we could not be here at Threadbare without saying, like, what's that Garnish? Because sometimes when you're reading a drink list, I don't know about you, but I'm like, I don't want a palm tree. I'm feeling like a mint. Like, what do you think?
Oof, that's a really good question. I mean, I love a Sazerac.
I still got great.
You love what?
I have to go back. I'm going to check my adjectives the next time I come on here with you guys. I really like a Sazerac. That's one of my favorite cocktails, and that's got a nice orange twist. But I will say one of the more unconventional garnishes that I think is really good with food and drink is rosemary. And Threadbare here actually has rosemary on a pizza, which I highly recommend you try if you get the chance.
Really?
Very good stuff.
John, do you remember when we were at Revel and they were burning rosemary, and the smell was amazing?
What they did was they burned it and they put the glass over it to have the smoke line the glass, and then they put not a Manhattan but an old fashioned into it. It was quite good.
Oh, I would love that. That sounds like right up my alley.
Well, that'll be our next thing. Trace, you on it? Us and Colin at Revel.
Nice.
Anyway, Colin, thank you so much. Always a pleasure, and we can't wait to have you on Q92 as well.
Thank you.
Right,
talk to you soon.
Oh, nicely
he's
done.
good. And I love the fact that he's like questioning our credibility, but we promise you, we absolutely love. We've always been a fan of the Incline, and Colin's doing an amazing job. So, all right, who's up next?
I think Nelli's up.
Nelli, in
Nelli,
the house.
Nelli.
Nelli, you have to have a cupcake though. You can't just do your thing.
She is a foodie though, so we must disclaim that it's just.
Oh yeah, it's just Giant
Giant
Eagle
Eagle.
cupcakes.
Yeah.
Like there's a. Oh wow, I didn't know we had makeup. Look at what
Nelli
Tracy
is
brings.
right now in the green room, which is next to a barrel and a bunch of cardboard boxes.
Barrel in some boxes.
And she's putting on makeup.
I love it.
Awesome.
I didn't know we had such a thing. So Tracy, she's amazing on her birthday.
Look at her showing her drink. That's awesome.
What is even happening right now? And I'm so jealous that she has a drink. I'd just like to point. Well, I gave that up.
All right. So here we go. Coming in
funny.
from music.
Nelli.
Hello.
I love that we passed each other on the stairs and you were like, Rachel, I'm Nelli. I know exactly who you are.
We
and
met
I
at
love it.
Picklesburg, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yep.
been that long.
Picklesburg and the Pierogi Fest last year.
Oh, that's
Oh,
right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Kennywood. Yeah.
Well, you're that popular that it took you almost a year to come on and chat with us. So we appreciate
Thanks
it.
for having me.
And
Absolutely.
for the record, you're the Pittsburgh food nerd.
Yeah.
We're not calling you out. That's your real.
Yep,
That's
I'm
your real handle.
nerding out about food and lately arts and culture too. So
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
So
Wow.
listen, she said a little thing beforehand, but I'm going to let her ease into it and give
Sure.
us her background. But she said she and her boyfriend is boring, and so she needs to make friends, and she wants to talk about it. So it's all good. It's a good thing, and it's
So
it's
welcome to this episode of Dr. Phil.
with makeup and cupcakes. Anyway, so
Yeah.
give us the background because we've never
Yeah.
had you on. So tell us a little bit
Yeah.
about you're not a Pittsburgher, but it's okay. It's
Sorry.
okay. Yeah, she's doing great things for us, so it's fine.
I'm trying. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I'm from Dallas originally. So, born in San Francisco, but raised in Dallas. And long story short, long distance dealio with my boyfriend. Met through some friends, ironically from Cranberry in Dallas. They got married. Then we met at their wedding, and then I found myself in Pittsburgh a few months later.
Oh my
So-
God! Wait, so he was from Cranberry, you from Dallas?
He's from New Kensington, but the mutual friend is Cranberry.
Gotcha. Okay.
And he
I was
married a
like,
girl
what?
from Dallas.
You know my proximity mind. I was like, so there's a Cranberry, Dallas. I didn't know. I was
There's
like,
a
wait, we're that
Pittsburgh,
close,
Texas, too.
We're that close to Dallas.
Confuse her now and say your uncle named Dallas lives in Cranberry.
I promise I am a smart person, but do not challenge me on geography because I don't know. You can tell me that we live near Utah, and I'll be like, oh.
So what got you starting into food blogging? Was it that you have good family recipes, or you just kind of liked the idea of just getting out and about, or you like
Yeah.
telling the Pittsburgh story? Because
yeah,
San Francisco's an excellent restaurant.
right.
town,
Oh yeah,
right?
but I was only there till like pre-K days, and then I found myself
okay.
in Dallas.
You didn't bar hop too much.
No,
Then.
not at all. So I like to say Cali born, Texas raised, and then Pennsylvania is like the end goal, I guess, with all of that. So, but no, my editor from Dallas Food Nerd. So it started with Dallas Food Nerd first.
Oh.
Yeah, and I wrote for her in college. I was in marketing comms. I needed portfolio work, and I love food and wine and beer. So she said, "Hey, want to write and be a contributor for me?" So I said, "Yeah, absolutely." And then it just really had a snowball effect, and the page grew. It's about 50,000 fans now on Instagram, over 100,000 readers on the blog. So I was writing for her, and then when I moved to Pittsburgh, I missed all that food writing, and it's just a hobby project. So I said, "I'm going to open up Pittsburgh Food Nerd, trademark it." She said, "Go, girl, go for it."
That was so smart.
Yeah.
Well, and the cool part is, I'm sure you've learned, Pittsburgh was not known for food at all.
Yeah.
I mean, we were just this kind of like, hey, we're here and we have permanis, you
Yeah.
know? And then all of a sudden, it became this, it was an explosion. And as we always say, we always reference Halby Klein, but Halby had come on and said, what I love is that Pittsburgh neighborhoods are taking notice that we need more culture. So
Yeah.
we're getting these niche kind of places.
Yeah.
Is that what you've seen kind of
Yeah.
from what, I'm sure you heard we weren't a foodie town.
Oh, I did hear that, but then I also heard it was one of the best foodie towns in the recent years. So thought that was interesting. But yeah, definitely living downtown, and on every block there's just something really great that I can go eat and just sit at the bar, have a drink, watch a Pens game or anything like that.
Yeah.
Lots of culture and diversity that's going on for sure.
Love hearing that.
Is it frustrating to you? My son now lives in New York City, and
Nice.
food is accessible 24 hours a day within
Yeah.
a walking distance and multiple. Is it frustrating to you that food is not accessible? Other than Primanti's?
You know, I'm not going to lie. I went to a theater show last night, and we got out around 11:30, and I said, "What's open, right? I want a drink." But, there's a couple spots open, and that was it. And my friend literally said, "Nelli, we're not in New York. Don't forget."
Oh.
Yeah. It is
But
true.
I know there's a lot of staffing challenges still.
Yes.
I've been hearing about it all over Instagram and places that couldn't even be open this morning for breakfast and lunch. They said, sorry, our staff didn't show up. We have to be closed. So it's
the
really
heck?
unfortunate.
We need Colin to investigate that first, and then his school.
Yeah, don't worry about schools. It's
The
not really
school
important.
thing can wait,
Food
Colin.
is more important.
Let's do the food thing first.
What
yeah,
what
I'm just kidding.
what Pittsburgh foods or food have you hooked on Pittsburgh?
So I'm not going to lie, Permanis for sure. And
Okay.
maybe that was just the tourist in me coming out. I went to Mola Sushi recently. Really great fresh sushi there. I love Sullivan's. It's just down the street, so it's easy to pop in, grab a quick steak and a wine.
Okay, that's what I was just gonna say.
Not
If
to
you're
sound
living
snobby.
there, no, but if you're living there, like, are there places you've not been? Do you still have a bucket list, even though you're sort of
Oh,
in the hub of it all?
Absolutely. I
Okay.
think I bet you there's something on every block in downtown I still want to go to. They have like Bebe's Kitchen. I hear
Yeah.
they have really great boba tea, and I just need to get down there ASAP.
How about that? We've been to Baby's Kitchen. We loved it.
Have we?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, a couple.
Oops.
Oh my God. This is what we do, you know? Thank God I'm here. That's all I can say. What about from a drink standpoint? So you said, obviously you weren't able to get a drink last night, but typically, what about cocktails? Have we upped our cocktail game?
I like what the Warren is doing with their
That's
drinks.
my favorite. Yeah.
Really creative. The owner's fabulous. Great staff. I mean, you go in there and you're treated with so much respect as soon as you walk in from the staff. It's
Agreed.
incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're super good at. We see them at Picklesburg. They've been a kind
Oh,
of
yeah,
diagonal
yeah.
from us, and
Yep.
they're super good drinks even on the fly in the middle of
Yeah.
the street underneath a hot tent.
Yeah.
Their food is always good, and their cocktails
Yeah.
always good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's a good
Definitely.
point.
Yeah.
What about on a regular basis? Are you someone, because you're a foodie, I always joke, like, because my father's a singer doesn't mean I'm a singer. Because your parent is a dentist doesn't mean. So
Sure.
because you're a blogger, that doesn't mean a food blogger. Like Gretchen McKay from the Post-Gazette. She came on and she said, I never dug cooking ever. And then she got the food editor,
Yeah. Yep.
job.
True, yeah.
And she said it piqued my interest to kind of say, I need to do this. What about you? Were you like, I just enjoy eating, or are you someone who wants to learn how to prepare food? What's the shtick there?
Great question, I have to say.
We are. I'm unliking you on Facebook. Well, I'm
losing
unfriending.
followers
Move
as
that
we speak. Cooking in the kitchen, yes, it is something I love to do, but I'm not great at it. And I come from a Middle Eastern, Persian, or Iranian background, and they're cooking
gonna ask
all
you,
the
like-
time.
okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
And it's difficult. It's hard. Stews and recipes. I mean, I bought a rice cooker. It's so easy, but the stews that come with it are challenging. It takes time,
Yes.
patience, love. Everything,
that.
all the things, and I just don't have a lot of patience for it. And call my
time.
mom, and I'm just help me. Do I have to keep simmering? What am I doing wrong?
Yeah.
And so.
And do you find that it's simple, right? It's just kind of like
Yeah.
focus.
Yeah. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Because I think what happens, this is just my theory. I'm Irish Italian, and everything is food.
Yep.
And my mother, it's like you learn the sauce and then that's it. Like she
Yum.
didn't teach me anything else because she was like, well, what do you need? Why do you need to know? Because there comes a point I don't live here, and I didn't
Yeah.
realize that I should have been like watching more.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And now, as a mom who's cooking like 4 to 5 days a week,
Yeah.
it's a lot because
Yeah.
then you have to find the different things,
Yeah.
to really make them want to eat on the regular.
Yeah.
And you're right, it's the patience.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's something I took for granted growing up, just watching my mom and my grandma cook all the time. I should have picked up some tips. I should have been more interested.
Blame
'cause I
them.
would have
They
loved
should have
to do
told
that
you.
now. I know. They should have made me get
How
in the
about you
kitchen.
just call out your
put a
mom and
chef
your
hat
grandma?
on. I love
easier
them.
that way.
Now you have me really intrigued. So the Iranian, what is typical food in the
Yeah.
Iranian culture? Is it very similar to other Middle Eastern?
Yeah, similar. I'd say that they probably use some different seasonings here
Okay.
and there.
Okay.
But I really like their ground beef kebabs, and the sumac seasoning that they put all over it is really delicious, and just onions and typical kebab recipe there.
Sure.
To I know for the Jagoffs, was it this year? I did a quick recipe blog post for you guys.
did,
It
yes.
was just a side dish though. It was more of like a yogurt cucumber mixed dip
Yeah.
with crackers or pita bread.
I thought that
Yeah.
was that curry smell.
Oh, okay.
It was yours
Oh, yeah,
because
yeah, yeah.
we were
Oh, I
going
love
to
her too.
try it. Right? Yeah, I did too. She's great. Remember
Yeah.
we said
Yeah.
we were going to try that, but
Yeah,
okay.
it's a very easy, simple recipe to make at home. You just need some non-fat plain yogurt, cucumbers, and sumac, and you can put some mint and other garnishes.
Is something like majadra? Do you know what that is?
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
that
John's
in the
favorite thing.
Iranian?
I think
Or
that's,
no, that's
more
more
like
Greek.
Arabic
Oh,
and Greek too,
okay.
but Persians have their own spin on it too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it's interesting is that majadra is something I've I love, and
Yeah.
I've tried to cook it, but it tastes the same at every restaurant where I go to, so something's the same.
But
But
you're
every
not
time I
making it?
try to make it, it never tastes like that.
know
So
you
I'm
tried.
missing some type of seasoning or something in it. But,
Maybe,
so
yeah.
like you, it's just
Yeah.
easier just to go buy it
Just
at this point.
Call up your local, restaurant and
Yeah.
get some takeout at that
Yeah,
point.
right. You're right.
Support local
Look at our
businesses.
Irish guy trying his majadra, and he
Oh,
says
I've
it's
tried.
nicely. I'm
I
impressed.
caramelized like a million onions and cooked a bunch of rice, but I just couldn't get it right. Yeah.
No,
Aw.
that's awesome. Well, I mean, I think this leads me to you need to do another YaJagoff because we need to figure
Yeah.
out like recipes that we can share
Yeah.
from a cultural standpoint.
Yeah,
I just think
sure.
that's what we're missing, don't you think?
100%.
Yeah, because and honestly, I said I'll go, get chicken and ground meat, and then I go, I have done the same thing for 2 weeks. What the heck else can I do? And I
Yeah.
don't want to repeat what my mom did. I want my kids to try
Sure.
different things.
Yeah.
And not eat macaroni and cheese every day like Ryan Coslow did. So bring us to the question
Sure.
that we asked in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
You said that you and your boyfriend are here. He's a boring engineer. What are you doing while he's working to kind of like get out and make other friends?
Yeah. So a couple of things. One, I'm in I do marketing comms for my day job, so I'm in a really great active group in town, PRSA of Pittsburgh.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I've been in that group since Dallas, and they have a really great Pittsburgh chapter. So they were the first people I plugged in with because I was like, I need a network. I need to get to know people.
Yeah.
And then since then, and then opening up the Pittsburgh Food Nerd Instagram page, just getting connected with the foodie community, like the Curry Smell and a
Sure.
handful of other bloggers and influencers, whatever you want to call them, just around town. Everyone's been so friendly, so welcoming. They have open minds. We go try food that no one's tried before, and it's a great experience. People have been so kind.
Aw.
So
That's good
I
to
love
hear.
it. We'll keep that going. Yeah.
You know,
And
you
she's
cross your fingers when you go, well, how's it
how
been?
welcoming are we? Yeah, no, I agree. But she also agreed to come try our concoction of Yinzer Cordon Bleu. So that's going to be
Let's
fun
do
for her
it.
to
Yeah.
try it.
Yeah.
All right, before we get to the question of the day, Nelli, first of all,
Sure.
we have to have you on more often. We're also going to have her on our food segment on Q92.9. But in addition, where does everybody follow you other than Instagram?
Yeah. I mean, Instagram's really the main channel for me until I break down and get a TikTok page. But also, I have a website where you can just read about my other food and arts and culture blog posts. It's linked in my bio on Instagram. So follow me, you Jagoffs on Pittsburgh Food Nerd.
Well done.
She's good.
Oh my God, that's a great soundbite.
Yeah, John, she's just solidifying
Yeah.
another time to get on here. She heard Colin comes on quarterly, so she's like, Trace, you get that?
Make
that was
it
her
every
little
other
nod.
week for me, she said.
All right, question of the day.
Sure.
Again, we would be remiss if we didn't talk about it, given the fact that we are here at Threadbare. What is your garnish go-to? And I have a feeling I know what you're going to say.
Mint leaves.
Oh, really?
I will eat them alone. It doesn't even have to be on a cocktail or food or anything. Yeah.
Wow.
I
I'm like a
love
bunny.
mint leaves.
Yeah. What did you think? Did you think it's a rosemary?
Yeah,
I like that too.
Yeah, I do too. And I was never a rosemary person until more recent. God, I'm sorry.
Right? No, I was agreeing with you. Rosemary wouldn't have even been in my
No.
thing until we
yeah.
had that Rivel and Roosevelt. It would have been a lime or a lemon for me. Is that?
Oh, nice.
Right?
Yeah, hey, I mean, that
That's
I
works.
mean,
so
I'm
Yinzer.
that basic.
It's so Yinzer,
but,
yeah.
But we go and get this drink that has this smoked rosemary on it. It
Oh,
was
delicious.
fabulous.
Yeah, the things you learn. And I do love, people like you who are coming here later
Yeah.
and learning about Pittsburgh. Having been here my whole life, it truly makes my heart happy to hear that we're progressing and that,
Yeah, I think
there's
so.
greater places to
Yeah.
be. So,
Yeah.
Nelli, you're great. Thank you. I love the
Thank
makeup. Look at her.
you.
She's adorbs. We'll have to have her on again real soon.
I
so.
love that.
right.
Thank you
And-
both.
No worries. All right.
More music.
Let's get a picture real quick. She wanted to pick Paige.
If
do you mind
Miss Paige.
move in?
Wherever the camera is.
Okay, do you want it on your Instagram or you want me
Actually, I'll do it on the regular camera app just in case.
We're still recording, but
Got it.
all right. And then obviously up next is Gallo Locknez. I can't wait.
Cheese.
Ah, yeah. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
And then the cool thing is after we talk to Gallo Locknez, we're going to talk to the person who's been throwing the barrels
Oh my
around for
gosh.
the last hour.
And
which
listen-
is, again, I love the smell.
I have been watching.
Are we going to beat him up and take a couple of those
There's
barrels?
a technique that he kind of like rolls it. It is super, super cool. I love it.
Right.
Yeah. I really wanted to try some stuff, so we might have to get cider before we leave. Look, I love how this is set up that Gallo Locknez had to walk around. Come sit down.
Let's hear it.
Listen, I have to say that when I first saw him, I don't know how old you are. Okay, but I was like, he reminds me of LL Cool J's "Around the Way Girl" video.
Wow.
Do you know who that is?
Of course I know LL Cool
No.
J is. Like,
You're
what?
so,
Hey.
How old are you?
How old do I look?
Young. You look super young.
We'll keep it there.
All right. Listen, women usually, we're the ones that are like, well,
Yeah.
but you look very, very young. But you looked like LL Cool J from Around the Way Girl. I was like, I want bamboo earrings, at least 2 pair, a Fendi bag, and a bad attitude.
Okay. Okay.
I can't help it. I'm a sucker. So
Who's the rapper here?
welcome. Well, it's certainly not me. If you ask my kids, they would be like, oh my God. So kudos to Tracy on this one because once again, as I told you when we just met outside, I don't know how we haven't met before.
Yeah.
You have so many things going on.
Absolutely,
I want to
yeah.
hear your story. You're not Pittsburgh, but as he said, 7 years here, so it counts.
Yeah, it
so I
does.
said,
Yeah.
he's getting there, but welcome.
Do you have
Gallo
anything
Locknez.
black and gold in your cupboard at this point?
Yeah. I mean,
Okay, so
listen.
then there you
yeah,
go.
You know, and then I just bought some black and gold sneakers.
Okay.
You know what I
Okay.
mean? So
Yeah.
and
Well, there
you
you
know,
have
we
it.
just dropped a. I wanted to take it out,
Yeah.
but I did an album with Jordan York,
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
and it's a fight song album. Here we go.
Okay.
And it's like 5 songs, right? Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
my
it's crazy. Yeah.
God.
Here, let me go
Look
show
at
it while
that.
you talk about
All
it.
right.
Yeah. And it's like it's for like every Pittsburgh team.
Yeah.
It's the Steelers, the
Yeah.
Penguins, like
Even the Pirates.
yeah, even the Pirates. Actually,
Well,
you know
you
what
said it
though?
like-
But you know what though? Listen, the Pirates actually are the only team that actually gravitated towards it. They played the song that's on there before every game.
Oh, get
Yeah,
out. I
yeah.
haven't been. I will say, I do love a pirate game,
Me
and I have
too.
not been there yet, so we'll have
Yeah.
to make sure we do that. So start from the beginning and welcome. We're so happy, and
Thank
we
you.
already said we want to have you more regularly because
for sure.
you have an initiative going on
Yeah.
with your friends. But start with where you're from,
Yeah.
what brought you here, and that little board called the Grammy board you might be a part of.
Yeah, that little boy. I love it. So I go by Gallo Locknez. I'm a producer. I'm a hip hop artist. And I was born in New York, right?
What
We
part?
hear it.
In the
We hear
Bronx.
it.
Yeah. I know a lot of people, if they don't know my name, they be like, "Hey, New York, what's up, New York? You want any water? Hey, dog." And I'm like, do I really say it like that? You know,
And you're like,
yeah, like come on, like it's almost halfway
That's
insulting.
hysterical.
But no. So, anyways, I grew up in New York. Excuse me, I was born in New York.
Yes.
But I actually grew up in Eastern Pennsylvania,
oh.
the Pocono area.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean?
I have a
Yeah.
friend who grew up there and said it was an amazing location.
I mean,
True
yeah,
story?
to visit.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Not to live.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
it's cool. It's honestly like a lot of people from New York move to the Poconos because
Really?
because a lot of people work in New York, but it's less expensive to live in the Poconos.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, sure.
So they just commute.
Wow. Okay, so you were there, kind of grew up, got your bearings.
That's basically where I grew up. But I mean, I've honestly lived everywhere. I lived on the East Coast. I lived in North Carolina. I lived in Florida 3 times. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And then I ended up here in Pittsburgh.
So what brought you here?
So actually, my sister's out here.
Thank you.
Yeah,
oh,
yeah, my sister's
okay.
out here.
And what
So-
brought her here?
And
Just work or?
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, we just like to hear.
And it's
because-
crazy because like she lived in Detroit, she lived in Guatemala, she lived like in all different places, but she ended up in Pittsburgh, and this is where she stayed.
wow.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
That
And-
makes me
and-
happy to hear.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so where did you did you stay here because of her
Yeah.
and you found the music scene that you needed to be in good, or do you say it needs me? Not in a pompous way,
Oh,
but it
yeah.
needs a boost like me.
No, I mean any music scene needs Gallo, but
what
nah,
I
I'm
said.
just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I love that.
I'm totally just
Which
kidding.
one do you want? By the way, we have drinks here. Which one
Wanna
would you
try
like to
cider?
try?
Yeah, I will.
I already grabbed this
Colin,
one.
do
I'll try.
You could take a sip.
No. I normally do the light one.
Light
so,
one? All right,
excuse
all
me.
right.
No, you're fine.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Salute.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
What
Italian.
is-
We say
for
salute.
sure.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Yeah.
So you talk and then you get to sip.
Exactly.
So tell us. So I like the question. That was a good question. Every music scene needs you. I'm serious.
Is that what you got out of it?
That's what I got out of it.
It was a joke.
You're a presence. No, but you're a presence.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I can tell that you control a room. You know
Yeah, thank
how
you.
to do that.
Thank
So
you.
was that at a young age?
Yeah, honestly, my first. It's so funny you say that because my first show was in West Palm Beach in 2006, and like I just got those pictures recently, so like it brought me back to that, and that was like my first show in a theater. It was
Okay.
like over 100 people. We were excuse me, it was hundreds of people, and we was raising money to help children that in India they're born with like a cleft lip.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
So we was raising money for that, and that was my first show. And then instantly when I did it, I was just like, yeah, this is for me. You know what I mean? Like when I finished performing, the whole theater was like, Gallo, Gallo, Gallo. You know what I mean? And that was just like, I got off the stage. Yeah, I knew then.
So
then
you're
that was
bitten
like
by the bug.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, oh, I like this. I want more of this.
Yes.
You know? So so it was cool. And then it was really, really cool too because, you know, I performed one of my own songs and then I came out as a surprise guest with an opera song, which I thought was really dope. There was an opera singer there, and she was like, hey, I know you're a rapper. How do you feel about rapping over an opera song? And I was like, I rap over anything.
I would love to hear that.
Yeah. And it was cool. And don't ask me the name of the song because it was a long time ago. And yeah. All right, listen, but no, it was cool. And then after that, it surprised me. But then after that, I started getting more shows and performing more and stuff. And then, you know, I just realized like people tend to like listen to my voice. You know what I mean? And so I started using my voice for other things. You know what I mean? Like obviously, I love to perform, but I also love to talk with the youth.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Spend time with the youth. I love educating. You know what I mean? I'm not a certified teacher.
Sure.
But I love sharing my experience and my knowledge with people.
That's teaching.
Yeah,
No
exactly.
question.
So let's go into that part of your
absolutely.
life, right?
Yeah.
You're into an organization, and plus we're going to talk about your European tour,
For
but
sure, yeah.
let's talk about what you're doing for the youth and the organizations that you're involved in.
Yeah, absolutely. I spent some time in YMCA in Homewood. They have an awesome program over there. The
James
Lighthouse.
Brown.
Yeah,
That's where the
JV. That's
studio
my
is.
guy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
we like him.
Yeah, JV. I was just on the phone with him last night.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
And yeah, he's a great guy, man. The youth are so talented over there. And then also with the Vault recordings out in Neville Island.
Love him,
Yeah,
Bob.
yeah,
Been there too.
Oh,
Yeah.
See, how did we never
I know,
meet
right?
you? That's crazy.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, no, Bob is an amazing person, and it's so funny. I joke about me and Bob because I feel like, you know, we don't look at all the same. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But we're like lost. We definitely got to be related somewhere down the line because we're so alike.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And,
philanthropic.
yeah, and I love it. And he's always like, hey, Gallo, I got a school coming in. You know, they love hip hop, so come out. You know what I mean? So
Wow.
I love doing that with Bob, and then like I said, the Lighthouse, and I want to get involved in a lot more around the city, and that's what we're working on actually. You know, being a part of the Recording Academy as a governor. They want to bring more of a presence in the Pittsburgh area.
I find that so fascinating.
That is
and so obviously
fascinating.
I asked him if he knew Frizzy, and he said,
Yeah,
of course.
that's my
but
bro.
what does that look like? So for people who don't understand, how do you get asked to be on a board like that, and what does that really mean?
Yeah, so it's crazy how it happens. So I'm big on networking, right? I'm big on meeting people. I don't care what you look like. I don't care where you're from. I'm sure we share something in common.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I went out to Philly. I have a good friend out there. He was doing what was it? It's like a video for a microphone company called Warm Audio.
Okay.
And he invited some of his Grammy friends, and he introduced me. He was like, hey, I want to take this moment to introduce you. And at the time, I was working for the NBA. I was doing like songs for the NBA, writing songs and recap videos for the NBA and stuff. So
Just that
like,
little organization.
Yeah.
You may have heard of it.
You may have heard of it, right? You know, and it's cool because I was living in Pittsburgh at the time, and NBA doesn't have a big presence
know,
out here.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I didn't realize how big my presence was. You know what I mean? Until I got to Philly, and he was like, hey, I want to introduce you to the Grammy board, and they were like, I know who you are. Like we hear you all the time, and I'm like, wait, what?
Wow.
Like, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
then I got to know them, and then they voted me in. And then the first year, I just continued to grow. And they was like, hey, we really like your leadership. We really like your presence, what you're doing. And we want to bring more of a presence into where you're from. So I'm a part of the Philadelphia chapter.
Okay.
Because Pittsburgh doesn't have a chapter. But they want to bring more of a Grammy presence into the
How do we
Pittsburgh
work on
area.
getting
What's
a
your-
chapter,
I know, right?
right?
I know, yeah. And the next chapter is from Philly is Washington and New York. You know what I mean? So
Okay.
like Philly's like right in the middle.
Yeah.
You know what
What's
I mean?
your
So-
role as far as being on the board? Is
Yeah.
it outreach? Is it community work? Is it
It's a lot. Well, right now it's gonna be event coordination.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm a governor on the board. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to connect the Recording Academy with events that are out here. You know what I mean? So it could be like, you know, say there's a festival or whatever. We'll use Millvale as an example, but we'll be like, you know, the Recording Academy and Millvale. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Or, you know, something that just to bring more of a presence. Again, like I said, I want to get more involved with the youth, honestly. The Grammys have the Grammy U, where they help
Okay.
educate the youth a lot. And the Lighthouse and other organizations. I want them. My big thing is this: like when I came up in music, like I said, I grew up in the Poconos. There's no presence of music there, right?
Sure.
There's no mentorship,
right?
No honest mentorship.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And being in hip hop and just the music industry alone, there's a lot of deceitful people and a lot of people that will give you false hope and false promises.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And it's unfortunate, but even as an honest artist or somebody that wants to make it, you got to navigate through that. You know what I mean? So my goal is to give people real hope. You know what I mean? A real chance. You know what I'm saying? Instead of like, because like I said, like I can't tell you how many times I've been disappointed.
You get let down a path by somebody.
Yeah, and it was like, what did I spent all this time, and you seemed believable.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But it led to nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, but
true.
But honestly, the most positive thing out of it is it helps me grow as an individual.
That's
right?
it. Yes.
And then
if you have
I
a
can pass that
takeaway,
down.
yeah, that's
I can
right.
pass
That's
it
your
down.
learning curve. You shorten the learning curve for somebody else. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. So that's what I want to do, and then I'm working on educating, like I said, education. And I do a lot of like TV placements. Like, so I do a lot of music for like TV shows and movies and commercials. And I want to teach a lot of the Pittsburgh artists, especially the youth, how to go about it. You know what I mean? How to get into that.
Wow, you have quite the bucket list.
You actually
It's
intrigued me in
awesome.
that because we know of an artist in Nashville that's written #1 songs, but
Yeah.
a lot of the money that she makes is, I know everybody wants to be a famous artist, but doesn't everybody rather have wealth as well?
Exactly.
And you can get wealth without being a famous artist because
Absolutely.
you can get into the TV shows, the gaming,
Absolutely.
the gaming things,
Yeah,
the
it's
audio.
Or
yeah.
who did we talk to during
Soundtracks.
the pandemic who moved to California to become some kind of a performer? And he said, but now I write all the jingles for certain sitcoms for whatever. I don't remember who it was at the
So
time.
I mean,
there's
but
ridiculous
there's so
money
many.
in
You can
that.
have a good life.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, there's ridiculous money in that, and it's crazy because a lot of the people that are the most wealthiest have maybe like 200, 300 followers on Instagram.
Right.
You know what I mean? They're not famous.
We hate them.
Right.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
tell
You
us a
are
little bit
so interesting.
The
Oh my
song that
gosh.
we're listening to in between each of the guests,
Yeah.
tell us about that
Yeah,
song.
yeah. So the song is called Boom. I just released an album. Obviously I just did the album with Jordan York, but I also released an album with a Colorado artist by the name of Budokai. He's based out of Colorado. And it's a very positive and inspirational album, motivational album. It's called Take Off. It's a lot of positive songs and motivational songs. This song is called Boom. It's my only solo song because this interview is about me, not you, Budokai. And no, I'm just kidding, kind of.
A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. And but anyway, it's a very fun song. Yeah, I mean, it's a very fun song. It's called Boom. It's a in your face type song. It's a very self-confident song, self-motivating song. When I write music, I write from the perspective of me because I want the listener to quote the lyrics and feel like they're talking about themselves.
Oh,
You know
nice.
what I mean?
Wow,
Yeah.
what a point. Oh my gosh.
Nice.
Before we let you go, tell us a little bit about this little tour that you're going to
yeah.
Europe.
Yeah. You know where that is.
I do, because I've been there.
So I've never been. I've never
Okay.
been to Europe. I'm
Okay.
excited to go. I'm touring with my one friend, DJ Swiss Ivory. We've been friends for a few years. I went to the Grammys for the first time like 2 years ago. He was my guest. He's the person I brought out there. Swiss Ivory has done amazing things for me. He's hooked me. I have a song with Wiz Khalifa through Swiss Ivory. I have a song with a lot of different people with Swiss Ivory. So we have a great relationship.
Sure.
He lives in Switzerland.
Okay.
So he was like, and we're working on an album called Positive Dreams.
Okay.
So he was like, hey, it makes sense. We got a couple of songs done. Let's promote the album out where I live.
Okay.
So he invited me to come out, and he put it together a few shows, a few shows, and we're gonna be in Switzerland. We're gonna be in Italy. We're gonna be in Austria.
If we don't get a postcard from
gonna-
you,
Yeah.
we're calling you out.
I heard you need a podcast.
Yeah, like,
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm
You
excited.
have such a good
Yeah.
energy. People
Thank
like
you.
you deserve that kind of stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Man, we're glad that we can claim you as a Pittsburgher now. And you're
Absolutely.
not allowed to leave now at this point.
Nah. At least
Yeah.
not this week.
But and you, just like Nelli said, you like Pittsburgh. You've stayed here for quite
I love
some time.
I love Pittsburgh, and you guys were talking about food. Like I got really hungry, by the way.
I
But,
know, me too.
No, I loved it. I'm a huge foodie.
Yeah.
Like huge foodie. Like I love to travel, and the first thing wherever I go, the first thing I'm like, all right, what food are they known for?
Sure.
Like, you know what I mean? That's like the first thing. So I love Pittsburgh for that reason. Like,
Okay.
I love when my friends come in, and I'm like, all right. You got to experience Permanis.
Yes.
I gotta take you, to wherever. You know what I mean? There's
Yeah.
a lot. I mean, I like
Do you
giving
have a
people
go-to at this point?
No,
No.
because I like trying new things.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it is very rare that I'll do things more than 4 times.
Okay.
But
Oh, wow.
nah.
How about that? 4.
I'm a clown. I'm a joke.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah,
Same.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew you knew who LL Cool J was. I was
Yeah.
trying to throw. When we first met Frizzy, the funniest part, and you'll appreciate this, but I love a hip hop. New Edition is my absolute favorite.
I'm working with New
band.
Edition. Yeah, yeah.
She just started
yeah.
to sweat.
Yeah, for sure. I just
All of them?
So I'm working with I'm working with Johnny Gill, and then I'm working with I just finished a song with Shaka Khan. That's not New Edition, but
Shaka.
yeah,
Shaka
yeah,
Khan.
Shaka
Shaka
Khan.
Shaka
Yeah.
Khan.
Just in case you don't know.
Shaka Khan,
But,
Shaka Khan.
yeah.
She's from a while
Yeah,
back.
yeah,
She's from Swissville.
yeah. She likes Permanis too.
Dude, that's hysterical. But I am like huge. Like even when Ralph left and Johnny Gill
Yeah,
left,
yeah.
and it was Belle Biv DeVoe,
Yeah, yeah.
like that whole thing. I even liked Boyz II Men because of them.
Oh,
Like,
that's
I
awesome.
didn't love
Yeah.
Boyz II Men, but I liked them because they were the spin-off of
Yeah, exactly. They were discovered by them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, they
absolutely.
went up to Mike and they said, "What's your name?" Hey,
Yeah.
Boyz II Men. You
Yeah,
know what
yeah.
I'm saying?
Mhm.
Anyway, that's I love that that era. And so when I met Frizzy, we were at a David Allen fashion show, and he had a suit done that David Allen had done
Yeah.
for him, and he was all tatted. And I said, "You look like Bobby Brown." He's
Yeah,
like,
that's
"Let's
hilarious.
talk."
Yeah.
You know, but
You
it
get
was
it.
funny. Yeah. But anyway,
No, that's awesome.
You are amazing.
Thank you.
I'm not kidding. We're going to talk more so that we
For
can
sure.
figure out how we can work with you.
Yeah.
However, we can help elevate some of these events that you want to
Absolutely.
kind of get
Yeah.
into these neighborhoods.
Yeah.
It's all
I'm
good
definitely
stuff.
looking for that because ultimately I'm just one person.
Yeah,
You know what I
that's
mean?
right.
So,
Yeah.
there's
And
strength
it's
and
little
unity.
things. No, I agree. All right, question of the day. First, though, where does everybody find you? How can they follow you?
Yeah. Before I even do that, let me give a shout out to Still Kitty and Deborah. You know what I mean? For making
Yes.
this happen.
I am so sorry. It was in my notes. Steel Kitty, yes. Thank you
Yeah,
so
for
much
sure.
because you have done a great job on other guests, but this one's my fave. Sorry, everybody.
Oh, no.
I say it like it
Oh,
is,
no.
and I'm drinking, so
Yeah.
blame what you want.
Yeah. But gallosworld.com. That's my website, but also everything Gallo Locknez, social media, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. Everything is Gallo Locknez. So.
Okay.
Before we close with the question of the day, so you're a foodie. Do you have like a family recipe that we could put on our G-Chat?
If it's microwavable. listen,
That's the new album. It's called It's Microwavable.
Listen, I could eat. I can't cook.
I picked that up. He didn't.
That's hilarious.
Anyway, what is your favorite garnish on a drink, for crying out loud?
Oh man.
You can't say mint and you can't say rosemary. Give us something else.
Oh man.
I mean, you could.
Yeah, I could.
But I
right?
prefer you not to repeat.
I mean, would lime count?
Yeah, but that's Yinzer.
yeah.
John said lemon and
Listen,
lime.
it- yeah.
I went basic.
I'm so easy to please. Like if you
He
know
likes
me,
motherfuckable dinners.
Yeah,
Ladies,
I'm-
are you single?
no.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But if you want to cook, I'll take it. Listen,
At least he didn't say the orange and the blue moon bottle.
Yeah,
I mean,
that is true.
that's
That's
really
true. Yeah,
basic.
yeah.
oh, no. Like I mean, I like a good mixed drink. I like I mean, I'm so easy.
Yeah.
Like I'm so easy to please. Honestly,
Yes.
like I'm so chill.
Yeah, I know.
No
I can
kidding.
tell.
No,
You are
kidding.
awesome. We're having you on again and again.
Awesome.
Like I could have talked to him all day. I loved our guest. But he's my
Yeah.
fave. All right,
All right.
moving along. It was good.
We
to
now
meet
have
you.
a
Yeah, for sure.
microwave sponsor.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So next up, Tyler from Threadbare. Oh my God, that was awesome. Thank you. Oh,
that was
You're awesome. Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, and we will be in touch. Let's just see what else we can do. A couple things. We do a series with Byron Nash and my dad
Oh, dope. Okay.
So let's figure out how we can kind of bring you into his museum. It's all old stuff.
All right, everybody. So behind the scenes, we're going to go for our last guest, the guy who's been, while Rachel builds bonds over here. Yeah. We're going to, the guy who's been throwing around the barrels the entire time, we're going to talk to him, and then we out.
You know,
All
I
right.
gaga over music, especially
Right.
people like
Right.
him.
That was
He was
that was
awesome.
so much
Yeah.
fun. All
Yeah.
right.
And we know that he's my favorite. I love LL Cool J. Did you know that? Fun fact about me? Oh, he's grabbing a few things. So let's chat. Who
All
was
right.
your favorite guest?
Man, that was, how about his answers were hilarious, but the microwave was the best answer
Oh my
of the whole
God. Well,
podcast.
I picked up that he likes to eat food, but I don't know that he likes to make it.
Yeah.
You're like, what's your favorite make? I was like, that was classic because I had a feeling he was.
In the
microwave.
meantime,
Paige,
Nelli-
come on through, sister.
Yeah, Paige is jumping around. And once again,
Cupcakes.
reminding everybody, you can see short bits of this podcast on, or listen to short bits of the podcast on Q92.9,
Look at
Monday
that.
through Friday,
Look
7
at
to
that.
10
Yeah, we might
p.m.
need to
on
have a
YaJagoff on
segment
Q.
of-
But also know that if you have a family food recipe, if you have a little
God.
a neighborhood that you want us to know about, even if you're a Yinzer that's out of town, you should email us.
Tyler just
Because-
sat down with shot glasses. That's all I'm saying.
So we want
I don't even know what's happening to me on a Saturday. Oh my gosh.
So Tyler, welcome to the podcast, and you've been the guy that's been working the hardest during the entire
or
podcast.
making the most noise.
and
Most
and
noise, I would
It
say.
I
sounded
love
like
it. I love
it sounded like the Marines were coming through a couple of times, but the fact is, first of all, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
What is your job here?
So I am the senior distiller and master blender for Wigle whiskey. Anything that's in a barrel that goes out, so all of the brown whiskeys, I've had my hand in. I've decided that blend, decided when that barrel's ready, and then send it over to the distillery.
Man,
for
you
processing.
are the head man.
So cool.
Oh,
How
wow.
does that happen? Like what?
Luck.
What do you do?
Did you
Luck.
pay attention? This is always
I
my
knew you were gonna-
yeah.
yeah.
This is always my classic question for people like you. Did you pay attention in chemistry class?
I did not. I was terrible at chemistry.
Same.
Okay.
Same.
Great at bio. Homebrewer for many years. Loved making wine. Just kind of came into it, and luck happened in 2017 that they were looking for another distiller. And it's like, okay, well, I'm going to put my name in the hat and see what happens. And within 2 years, I was starting some blends. One of the owners had asked me to try a blend. Came up with 5 different varieties out of a half bottle. And he's like, okay, yeah, this is your job now if you want it. So
Wow.
That
been doing
really
it ever
is
since.
luck.
Yeah.
But luck doesn't continue the progress and the tradition here. So kudos to you for
Thank
having
you.
this.
Thank you.
So when Tracy told us we were going to be here, she was like, it's not just any day at Threadbare. So what is today? Explain
Today
that
is
a
our
little bit.
almost semi-monthly now barrel sale. So we just started this last year. Obviously, we empty a lot of barrels, as
Yeah.
you can see today.
Yes.
And really, our options for selling them were either reselling back to one of the cooperages, finding a wholesaler. But we constantly get emails and calls about people going, hey, can I just buy a barrel? And that was kind of becoming my full-time job of just trying to deal with people on a daily basis that it was sight unseen. You could just say, I want a barrel. I would get one over. It was often not the barrel they wanted. So it's like, well, let's just have people come in and look. Also, this is a space that we really don't allow people into. It's
Oh my gosh, we're
it's
so
our
worthy.
production space. So
Yeah. We're not worthy.
and-
I love it.
So we've been sitting in this barrel
And
house.
smelling.
Yeah.
And what we're smelling, it smells awesome. Like I told
Yeah.
Colin prior to the podcast, like I just want to buy one of the barrels and open it up in my house because I want my house to smell like this.
Are
But
you hinting that maybe he'll say
what-
take one?
Yeah.
I think that's
What-
what's happening at this
What
point.
are we smelling? Is it grain? Is it the mixture?
a good
And how old are the barrels that we're selling? How many times have you used them? Lots of
Okay,
questions there.
Lots of questions. So you are smelling grain. There is a couple 1,000 pounds of grain right behind us in all the white bags. So that is part of the grain. A lot of the stuff you're smelling is going to be that char, that boiling off of the high volatile alcohols that are coming out of the barrels. So really what we're smelling is alcohol in this space. It's not to the point of anything potentially going boom or anything like that, but it is just pervasive. It's also just all those different products that we make. So there's bourbon, there's rye, there's malt,
Love bourbon.
there's some maple back there too, and just the sheer volumes that we have in here is attributing to that.
So getting back to what people do today, so they literally just keep pulling their cars up. They open their trunks. It's like being at IKEA, but not at all. You know? It's like- I mean, how cool. So it started a year ago, and what's the process? What do they do?
So pretty much when we started this, it was we'll sell tickets for the afternoon, see how many we're going to do. I just stack up all of my empty barrels, and they come in. I have given up long ago trying to figure out what people are looking for in a barrel.
Yeah.
Everybody's looking for something completely different. So it's like, you can browse, find what you want. I've had people telling me this hoop's too rusty, this isn't rusty enough. I like the silver hoops, I want a rye, I want a bourbon. It's like, okay, well, here's
And
your
now,
two-
how many times have the barrels been used? Are they?
So it varies. I would say 95% of the barrels in here are first use. So
Okay.
legally,
Wow.
we are only allowed to use a barrel once to call it rye, wheat, or bourbon. It has to come from American white oak, charred on the inside, and used one time. After that, we're not big enough to be selling to the big boys across the sea, but we do have a few of the smaller ones that are ex-Heaven Hill or other bourbon distilleries get sent over to Lafroig, Lagavulin, and any of the big whiskey Scotch producers. Then we get them back, and that's what we use for our American rye kilted cask. So those are a second use,
how cool is that?
Yeah,
technically
that's-
third use for us, but it's the first time we're using it, and we can go to used cooperage for
Where
that.
You don't even need notes. I'm sorry.
No,
you don't
yeah.
even need notes. Like that literally rolls off your tongue.
I've been doing this for a few years now.
Yeah, wow.
But you look 10. So, you know.
Do you know who LL Cool J is?
I do.
I'm just kidding.
Do you know anybody in New Edition?
Nope.
Okay,
Sorry.
so all right, so
Gallo
the previous
wins.
guy, yeah,
Go
Gallo wins. No, so what's the interest in the barrels? Do you have any idea? Do you ever follow up? People want it as furniture. People want it as art.
I try to talk to a lot of people. I try to steer them away from saying, hey, I want a brand new barrel. I want to put it in my living room. It's like, oh, do you have hardwood floors? Because it will just tear up that hardwood floor because we roll them around on concrete. The edges are metal. It will destroy your floor.
Yeah, and talk about that because I was getting a picture of you, and you said, "Hold on," because I just got this one up.
Yeah.
Is there a technique to kind of roll that?
There are a multitude of techniques. I was lucky enough to go down to one of our cooperages, Kelvin in Louisville, and they showed me how the best to move it. So you can either roll it on the edge, or you can go end over end, flipping it like a basketball or a rugby ball if you can.
Both sports I played. Not kidding. Seriously, they're.
But I did. Those are the best methods to move them, I've found.
How about that?
I'm just finding this all. A
It's
cooperage
fascinating.
is clearly someone who makes barrels.
They just make barrels.
Never knew that. We need a cooperager on our podcast at some point.
Is that the term?
Cooper.
Okay, that's coop.
But
This is so the whole thing. So tell me little bit about. Let's go up the chain a little bit about Wigle whiskey and all
Okay.
that. So you guys have been. We've had Meredith on a number of times, but just talk about you're now approaching what year in your life cycle, because now the whiskey that you made the first year is coming to.
oh yes,
right?
yes. So we are in, I believe. I hope I get this right. I think 10 years now.
Okay.
2012 was when we opened our doors.
Okay.
So yeah, I think right now my oldest barrel in here is 8 years old. I have a few 10-year-old barrels at our place down the street. They are massive 200-gallon cognac barrels
Oh my goodness.
that I'm not really sure how to move them at the moment. So they're just going to stay there. That was our-
Because you don't know how to. Everything's going to slosh around.
everything's going to slosh around. They're also both full, so that's 400 gallons of
Oh
whiskey
my word.
that we have a box truck to move with. So
I was gonna say you're not
it's-
rolling that leap down to here.
So it's like they can stay there. I'm happy leaving them in
Yes.
that space until we come up with how we're gonna release those.
Okay.
Wow,
But
you are
what-
full of knowledge. I'm sorry.
Brings me another question. So what's the difference between a cognac and what
Yeah,
we're
that's a
talking
good
about?
So those are gonna be our second use barrels, or they'll be
Okay.
our possibly third. I don't know how often they were used, but we do a lot of sourcing of barrels. Most of our products are rye, our bourbon, our wheat whiskeys go into a first use barrel. Again, mostly bought from Kelvin Cooperage. So they make a brand new barrel. I have those all the way in the back now. Whiskey goes in, sits for 2 to 8+ years. Who knows how long some of these barrels are going to sit for. But then we do some things called finishing casks, where we will take barrels that have already been used that have a flavor profile that we might like. So that would be our Lafroig barrels. We get Madeira barrels, port barrels. We've had Pedro Jimenez, sherry casks, and those barrels would be would be used at least one time prior to us, and we will put our spirits coming out of the first cask into those to age even longer.
Wow.
So I've had a few port barrels in the back that have been sitting 2+ years at this point, with whiskey in them that was 4 years prior to that.
I thought I wanted your job in the beginning, but I'm definitely not smart enough.
Oh, wow.
Because I like the workout you were getting today.
The workout's
But-
excellent.
That's a good workout.
There's
Yeah.
a lot of just memory, and I am right now, I believe, the only person that knows where all the barrels are. So it's
Job
just
security.
Job
security.
security. Yes. Wow, that's so
All
smart.
right.
What else did you bring us?
okay. So
Yeah.
I'm going to do a little bit of a plug here.
Okay.
Do
yeah.
it.
got-
Oh,
we got-
that's why you're here.
We got Father's Day coming up, so one of our things I have right behind you guys is our barrel finished kit. That is all those fancy barrels I was talking about. So we have a kit of 3 different bottles in there. We're going to have our port rye, our rum cask finished rye,
Oh my god.
and
just wanna drink the rest of the
I
day.
forget what the last one is. I think our sherry cask rye in there as
Oh
well.
wow. I never had sherry. Did
We're
you?
looking at it. Keep talking about it.
So
I'll
we
take
have
it up
that
to
one.
the camera.
Yeah, so that's going to be our kit. Great products in there. Really
Wow.
nice intro. We do sell full-size bottles. This is our intro level. Do you want to see if you like something? You want to try all of our kits? The other one that
Wow.
I'm really excited, I'm going to give you guys a little pour of.
I knew it was coming.
Yeah.
I left my chaser of cider just in case. Paige said stop.
So here, I'll show you guys
Look
first.
at
This
these.
is our smoked bourbon. And
oh wow.
so
on.
for our smoked bourbon, this is not going to be your Isla-style Scotch
Absolute-
whiskey. This is
Okay.
going to be more of an American take on a smoked whiskey. So what we have in here is mostly corn, and then we use malted barley that's been smoked with different barbecuing smokes, essentially. So this is mesquite and cherry wood smoked.
And you can taste it. Like
Yes,
you
so it's-
And
smell it.
am I supposed to sip it
Sip it.
I
There's
couldn't-
no wrong way to drink alcohol.
or
love
or
you, Tyler.
mainline it?
because my husband would be making fun because I do need chasers anytime. But you're right. It almost is like you're savoring because I can still taste
Oh
it
my
as
God,
I'm
yeah.
talking. Like
So
Oh,
right
wow,
up
that's
front, you're
really
gonna get a little bit of that corn note that's
Yeah.
coming through, that sweet corn,
corn,
followed by that mesquite's gonna hit
phase 2 is
second,
mesquite.
and then it should just fade and mellow out to that little
And
cherry
it warms
smoke.
you up all the way down your
Oh, yes.
esophagus.
Oh yeah.
In your eyeballs.
You
this
drank
is-
it wrong.
Remember when Rachel was sober on the podcast? Wow,
Oh,
that is
oh, yeah,
really
that's-
good.
This
So
is
that's
it.
this.
That's this. This
and
is
that's
92
part,
proof. This is not gonna be part of that. These are
It's
2 separate
92
things.
proof. All right.
Yes.
Oh
Wow.
my gosh. Okay, we have to decide what we're buying for Father's Day gifts. You don't have. Oh, we should buy for John. I didn't even think of that.
Aw.
Aw.
Well,
Tyler,
is
this is
this is
amazing.
really good. Again, this is a bourbon.
That is a bourbon.
Okay.
Yes.
The
Wow.
difference between a bourbon and a whiskey?
Want to try?
All bourbon is whiskey. Not all whiskeys are bourbon.
Got
so
it. Okay.
when you're talking about a bourbon, it's going to have be at least 51% corn. That is going to be the main
Okay.
definitive thing on why it's a bourbon. There's a few other things that have to happen for the
Yeah.
Do you smell
legal
it?
side, but
Oh yeah, it's
God,
delicious.
I feel like I'm not being funny. I feel like I'm in a campfire.
it's
Yeah, it
delicious.
is.
It's
Yeah.
so good.
Wow.
Wow.
All right. So, do you know websites and things like that? Should we ask you that for Wiggle Whiskey?
He knows everything.
Or are we going to
He
stump
doesn't
the
even
pan
have
on
a
that
notepad here. He knows it all.
one?
Wiggle
If-
Whiskey is our, if you
Yeah.
Google
if
that,
they want to order a barrel or get in on this, just go to Wiggle Whiskey.
go to Wiggle Whiskey. We post our barrel events and when they're going to be. I think the next one we're going to have is sometime in August. We're trying to do them every 2 months at the moment. Wow. Skipping over, January through March because this barrel house is not insulated and it is
Oh,
about
got
10
it.
degrees in here.
Double Dog Dare Us will come.
Yeah, we'll come for a workout.
I have a nice big fluffy jacket, so I'm fine.
We are here in
We
January.
we will bring Byron Nash down here and do a workout video. That's what we'll do.
There you
All
go.
right.
Nice.
Tyler, thank you for the education and all
very welcome.
seriousness. Like, I love knowing too that this is a job, a unique job that
Oh,
somebody
yes.
might not know about.
I love the fact that, again, this is you could go to a chemistry class or a bio class and tell kids you should pay attention today because
You
this
could be the next
your
Wiggle
job."
Whiskey.
Right, yeah.
Pay attention in chemistry.
And thanks
All
to
of us.
Meg. Thanks to Meg
Yeah.
for helping
Oh,
coordinate this
Meg
as
has
well
done
with Tracy.
so much.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, you guys,
All right,
thank
so the
you.
question of the day is, what is your go-to garnish?
Basil.
Oh, that's another good one. Basil's a
All
good
right.
one.
Basil gimlet is great on a hot summer day.
Yeah. Oh,
How about that?
Basil Gimlet.
All right. Well, we're coming over his house. Try that.
Yeah.
On a hot summer day.
On a hot summer day.
Yeah,
and
we're
then
just going to
coming
call
here
him
on
up
a
and go
cold-
hit him up. Hit him
All
up in
right.
his DMs. All right. So this has
John's
been
drinking
the
too.
YaJagoff podcast. And thank you again to Wigle Whiskey. Thanks again to Threadbare. Thanks again to Tyler and Meg who hosted us. Thanks to Tracy who put it together. Happy birthday, Tracy.
Happy birthday to Tracy. And obviously, thanks as always to Rorick Honda. Listen, I copy and pasted the wrong the wrong sponsor thing. So as always, you know to go to Rorick.com for all of your vehicle needs. Definitely check out the Rorick in Bloomfield. Ask for Larry. Get the best deals on your CRVs, your HRVs, whatever vehicle you want, they have an answer for. Have a great rest of your weekend.
And thank you to Taylor. Thank you to Colin. Thank you to Nelli. And thank you to our musician, Gallo Locknez, who you're going to hear right now.
Perfect.